Thank you guys for being here. I want to thank Tina again for putting me on the afternoon session on a Friday. But we're going to try and bring some juice for you guys and have a little bit of fun while we're at it. So mindfulness changed my life, and it changed the way that I connect with myself and with people. How many of you guys recognize these two characters on the screen? Yeah, so my favorite Muppet, Beaker, on the right, or your left, is a magnet for disaster. His hair signifying that he's always on fire, expecting things badly to affect him and happen to him. And he's the assistant to Dr. Bunsen Honeydew. He's your stereotypical, first of all, I didn't even know that was his name, but he has a name. Stereotypical absent-minded intellectual with the white lab coat, the lensless glasses, and no pupils. So in 2016, I was an amalgamation of these two people. Not physically, that would be weird. But mentally and emotionally, I called it my midlife crisis now in retrospect. But I had passed all the tests. I had paid off my student loans. I was part of a successful practice. I had a lovely wife and a house. And inside, I felt hollow and purposeless, and I didn't know what to do. So I told everybody, I'm fine. Everything's good, I'm fine. I didn't know who to tell, what to tell them, how to share my voice. You know, it was probably a story I told myself, but I didn't think anyone wanted to hear about the dissatisfied dermatologist. Definitely not my medical friends in the ER and working weird shifts and whatnot. But I did what I knew how to do at that time, and it was consume. So I started listening to, you can ask my wife, a variety of podcasts, reading books, doing leadership courses, anything I could get my hands on to give me tools that would fix myself. And listening a lot to what other people told me I should be doing to feel a certain way. And what I realized that I had never done is I hadn't listened to myself. And so I listened to yet one more podcast, 10% Happier by Dan Harris. He was an ABC News anchor who had a panic attack on national television and gave me yet another thing to do, try meditation. So I was like, okay, that sounds great. So I sat down on an uncomfortable but beautiful chair. Heather, my wife, is an interior designer, in my first floor of our house at 5 a.m. in the morning by myself with my dog looking at me really weird. And I meditated for 5 minutes, guided meditation with the app. And I thought I was going to die. All these thoughts came into my head. How's the day going to go? All these things racing through my mind. And I was like, wow, this is happening all the time and I'm not realizing it. And didn't really feel any different, but I was like, okay, I'm pretty good at being determined. I'm going to do this for 8 weeks. And so I did it every day for 8 weeks, same thing. My wife put up with me if she saw me, came down early in the morning. And I noticed something at the end of 8 weeks. I noticed I felt more peaceful, and I felt like I understood some of the things that I felt throughout the day and had a little bit more emotional control. So I said, well, this is pretty cool. Maybe I should look into, what's the science behind this, being in medicine, and what's the history of this mindfulness stuff. So mindfulness is just being aware of the present moment, what you're thinking, what you're hearing, what you're sensing, what everything feels like to you. And look back, and it's scattered over centuries and over multiple traditions. And I said, okay, well, is there any science to this? So I realized there's plenty of science. This is fMRI from a study at Harvard. They were working with depressed patients. And what you see highlighted is the amygdala in the brain, which is the brain's emotional control center. The center for stress and anxiety is where that resides. And on the left is before an 8-week mindfulness-based meditation course, and after that same course. And you see a lot less activity in the stress and anxiety locus for the brain. Newer studies are coming out that it actually improves the patient experience. They looked at about 26 studies in that area and saw that there's strong evidence to support at least healthcare provider perception of a patient experience going well, and then at least moderate evidence to show that the patient experience overall and patient outcomes have been improved with mindfulness meditation. I said, okay, again, that's pretty neat. I'm feeling, at least, if not burnout, not great, whatever you want to call it. I wonder what my staff is feeling like. I basically took all the things I didn't want to do and made them do it. So they're looking at computers all day, so I don't have to. So I said, okay, well, let's see. I'm in this leadership course. Maybe I could try this at my office. And, my staff, I'll tell you, they put up with me a lot. This is definitely another thing that I was trying with them, and they're so gracious in trying some stuff, even if sometimes it doesn't work out. So designed a mindfulness meditation course for them. We did just super easy. Before survey, 1 to 10 on a variety of metrics, energy level at work, energy level at home, level of connectedness, time you feel like you're on autopilot, stress, anxiety, depression. And then an accountability tracker for all those days that they're doing the meditation. And we got about half of the office to meditate. And on this graph, you can see the blue indicates people who meditated at least 80% of the time. You see they at least improved their connectedness, sleep quality. It's really important. Energy level at work and home. And you can see stress and anxiety decreased. And obviously it's not going to get published, but it shows that you could try something like this where you work. And I think it's really cool. So, I talk about creating space for the program, and Ty's going to come on here and talk about creating physical space for mindfulness, both at home and at the office. And I wanted to leave you with one quote by Viktor Frankl, Holocaust survival and author of Man's Search for Meaning. He said, in between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space lies our power to choose our response, and in our response lies our growth and our freedom. So create that space for yourself. All right, Doug, you can take it away.
Thank you, Scott. Like the officers on the Titanic, dancing the night away, we celebrate tonight while our colleagues and friends suffer the worst suicide rate in the United States. We physicians and healthcare providers have ceded all control of our great profession to an arbitrage insurance industry, an industry we cannot even compete with because elements of our own leadership refuse to confront Richard Nixon's Certificate of Need laws, stereotyping reformists as just greedy doctors wanting to open another ambulatory surgery center or MRI machine. My year here in Raleigh has been marred by such sadness and anger that when Scott called me and said, hey dude, how about a little mindfulness? I said, yes, that's what I need. So he mentioned 10%. My feeling on mindfulness, and I have some experience in that, that's why we teamed up, is it gets me about 20 to 30% happier. This has been a tough year. We're in the middle of a transition, and we had the first time my family and I had gotten to design and renovate. We were renovating a home, and we were in an apartment at the time. There was 7 of us. There was no free space. My home, I have a meditation room and a mindfulness room I wanted. And this is it. It lets in natural light. This is my space. But at the time, this past year, I didn't have a space. I was stuck in the apartment with the kids. There was like no place to just think about it. And the ideal place was at work. And that's what we want to show, how to do this at work. So this is an MMU, or otherwise known as a mindfulness mobile mindfulness unit. The first thing to do when setting up an MMU or a mindfulness space, and this you do anywhere, is to create a boundary. So you want a boundary that you physically step into, and in this case, I have a rug that I've done in my office that I can pick up when I have meetings with the residents and with colleagues. But it creates a space. It does a critical thing. When you enter into this area, it helps the mind to cross that boundary, that you are in a space now where you can leave things alone. The second thing you want to do is you want to create some comfort in your office, because we talk about stretch meditation, yoga. These are things to really, there's pheromones released, there's hormones released that really help you relax and help you focus on your breathing and yourself. If you have the opportunity, introduce some of the natural world. And in Japan, they do this outdoors. There's a lot of meditation gardens. In my own home, I have it facing the southern sky, southwestern sky, so that as the sun comes through, we can see it all year long. It's good. Either it's fresh air or it's sunlight. But in my case, in my office, I had neither of those. So, last thing to do is when you step in, leave the grime and dirt on your shoes, leave them out. Step into your clean space. Turn off the distractions. Most importantly, get rid of this guy. Leave it outside of the room. And my personal one is child's pose. And so I like to...
All right. So you can see Ty using child's pose. So yoga is a pose in yoga, which is one form of meditation. It's moving meditation. You can choose whatever position you like. I usually sit in a chair. You can sit on a cushion on the ground cross-legged. But if you guys are all willing to try, I don't know if any of you meditate, we could do a quick 1 minute of mindfulness right now. And you don't have to do anything. You just put your feet on the floor. Close your eyes or soften your gaze. Put your hands on your eyes. And we'll guide you through it. All I want you to do is take just a couple deep breaths at your own pace. And we'll be doing a sort of relaxation meditation, because I know we've got a lot of emotions built up from an exciting conference. So one more deep breath for me. And I want you to scrunch your face as tight as possible. We never do this. It's kind of weird. And then relax. Do it one more time. And relax. And then scrunch your shoulders up as tight as possible. And relax. And then one more time, as tight as possible. And relax. And then when you're ready, you can open your eyes, just flutter them open. And maybe take note, do I feel any different than when I started? You know, this is your first day of meditation and mindfulness. I'd encourage you, if anyone feels a little bit better, just keep it going, okay? So there's going to be a little bit of information as far as how to start after this slide. But my message to you and our message to you is, you know, we did this out of necessity, but it's available to all of you every day. If you take out your phone and look at your new iPhone update, it'll tell you how many hours, I guarantee it's hours, you spend on your phone. So I would argue if you have time, period. And if it's important to you to listen to your inner voice, you can do that. It's not for everyone, but it is for anyone who wants to try. And I think in medicine, we're barraged by stimuli, and we respond really quickly and react. And if we just take a moment to pause and be intentional with how we're being with other people, I think the world will be a better place. And I'd encourage you to listen to your all's voice. So if you want to start, I put a blog post here on Mark and I's blog about how to start. It's pretty simple, but you can go there, practicehealthrx.com. And I'd hope that you guys can get started with your mindfulness practice. Any questions? Thank you.